Thank you.
Is it Bluetooth or you want to zoom out?
I think you can zoom out slightly.
I can zoom out. Oh, okay.
Okay, I think I can. Thank you.
Okay.
All right. Welcome back, everybody. This is Teacher Nathan from Writers at Work. And today we will be going through ACS Primary 5 end of year paper from 2023. So we will start with grammar first. Question 1 reads Johnson ran as fast as he could during the race. Dash he. Over here, we are looking at a question tag. Let's take a look at my keyword. Ran as fast as he could. These two words are in past tense. Now, let's take a look at my options. We have didn't, hadn't, couldn't, and shouldn't. Couldn't or could is to show uncertain possibilities. Shouldn't is used to show obligation. Next, if we have the word hadn't or had, it will need to be in past perfect, which means that one action occurred before second action took place. As we observe in our question here, we are only interested in the past tense, not past perfect. There is only one action that occurred, which is Johnson running the race. As such, number 2 will be out. Looking at option 3 and 4, their users, which is highlighted here, do not correspond to my question because Johnson running in a race happened. So it's not an uncertain possibility and he had no obligation to run. So these two options are also out. Now let's take a look at option 1, didn't or did. This is used with my past tense. As such, this option can be accepted for question 1, and that will be my answer. So some of you may be asking, where is the did? Because this is a negative connotation, so the answer is here. If you say Johnson did ran as fast as he could during the race, it is also grammatically correct because didn't and did can be paired out with past tense. Okay? Moving on. Amanda mistook Henry's water bottle for Dash as the two looked similar. Over here, we're interested in pronouns. So let's take a look at the keywords. Amanda mistook Henry's water bottle for Dash. So we are looking at Amanda owning the water bottle. Alright? Looking at our options, his and hers, these two are known as possessive pronoun. these two words are used to show that the person owns something. On the other hand, her and himself, her is a third person pronoun. This means that you would replace the pronoun, for example, the girl, or like Amanda or Sally, with this personal pronoun here. Okay? And lastly, himself here is known as an intensive pronoun. We use intensive pronouns to emphasize the noun. Okay? So for example, the boy went to school all by himself. So we want to show that this action was completed by just one specific person. Okay, as what Huang Hua correctly pointed out, we are looking at Amanda's water bottle which she owns, and because she's a girl, we will use option number 3, which is hers. Okay. Moving on, let's take a look at question 3. The teacup, together with the plates, dashed on the museum last year. So we are looking at subject-verb agreement question here. Looking at our keywords, last year, which means this is the past tense. The next keyword is teacup. This is singular. Do take note that there is a comma between together with the plates. So this is extra info. So we are looking at singular and past tense. So there's only one answer. Option 3, was. All right. Question 4. The police advised the public dash spreading fake news. So over here, we are interested in prepositions. Looking at our keywords. Police. So we are looking at the law. Next, we have fake news. This is usually against the law. Okay. So if we look at these keywords, we need to have this preposition that shows that the police does not support this. Okay, and just as WY ask YY said, number 4, we will use the word against because this shows that you are opposed to something. Yes, correct, Huang Hua. Now, for everyone's learning, let's take a look at the other 3 options too. When we use in, is to show location. The boy is in the house. For example, okay, on is used to show the surface of object. So for example, my tablet is on the table. So I'm showing that this tablet is lying on this flat surface called the table. Lastly, about is for elaboration. So if we say that I want to know more about the accident, that means I'm interested to find out about one specific incident. Okay? Moving on, we have question 5. The man waved his hand, dash to get the waiter's attention. So there are 2 actions that are occurring. The person waved the hand. The second one is there's some hope here. Okay, so they are concurrent. Now, we have option 1, hope and hopes. These two are in the present tense. But hope is for plural and hopes is for singular. Next, we have hoped, which is the past tense, and hoping, which is in the continuous tense. This means that my action is ongoing as you speak. Okay? So in this case, the man waved his hand first. This is action 1. And as action 1 was ongoing, action 2 occurred. So because of this concurrent activity, we will be using option number 4, hoping. Okay? So to illustrate what is happening, at 1 p.m., the man waved his hand. And at 1:02 p.m., the man was hoping to get waiter's attention. And now it is, let's say, in the present. So you can see that both actions are occurring at the same time. And this hope is present even as we speak. Okay? And this is how we derive the answer for question 5. I'll just give everyone some time to take in the information I've just shared before we move on to the next 5 questions of grammar. If anybody has questions, please feel free to write them in the comment section. If you know the answer, you also can be like Huang Hua Yi and ask YY to suggest the answers. Okay. Now let's take a look at question 6. With dash expectation, Robert entered the competition. He was surprised to win first place. Over here, we are interested in determiners. Basically, these are words to demonstrate amounts. So like many, much, some, few, etc. First keyword, expectation. This is uncountable. Next, surprised to win. So this suggests that his expectation is a very low amount. So looking at the options available, I will ignore option 3 and 4. Few here is used for countable objects, while little is for uncountable. So in order to fulfill my condition of a small amount that is uncountable, the option that I have is number 2, little. Yes, correct, Pui. Now, looking at option 3 and 4, many here is used for countable objects. I have many coins on the table. Much here is used for uncountable things. For example, he put in much effort in his homework. Okay? Alright, moving on. A kind stranger was spotted helping a few students dash the road safely. First thing, kind stranger. Over here, we are interested in a singular object, singular subject, one person. Next thing, he was spotted. So this is an act, it's a verb. Okay? Let's take a look at some of the options given. Cross here is singular and plural. We have crosses, which is, present and plural, not singular. Crosses is also present but singular. Next, we have crossed, which is in past tense, and crossing, which is in the continuous tense. Continuous tense basically means that your action is ongoing as you speak. Now, this question has a verb given already. So we need to apply the verbs of perception rule. This means that when I have two verbs in my sentence, like what we are observing here, and the first verb has got to do with your sight, for example, spotted, watched, etc., you will need to use the base form for the second verb. So for this case, the base form would be to cross. Okay? And that would be the answer. So the answer is number 1, not number 3. So everybody please take note of the verbs of perception question. The base form is basically the singular present form, cross. Okay? Why they never put to? You don't need the word to make it grammatically correct. Okay? If there are no further questions, let's move on. These shoes became popular, dash their poor quality and design. So we are looking at conjunctions here. These are basically your linking words. So we have two keywords, popular, then we have poor design and quality. And you can see that these two are kind of contrasting ideas. Usually something will be popular because they are good to use, they are durable. But in this case, the shoes are poorly designed. Let's take a look at the options. Due to here shows a cause-effect relationship. Due to the rain, the train was delayed. In spite of shows contrast. Because of shows reason. And resulting from is cause and effect. So in this case, I'm interested to show that contrast. So we will use option number 2. So good job, Kelim Chua. Yeah, Huang Hua, the answer is 2. Okay, let's go on to question 9 here. We dash for some time. Let's take a break. The exhausted man told his son. So over here, we are looking at an activity that has been continuous for some time. Okay? Let's take a look at the keywords now. Let's take a look at the options now. Was jogging here is in the past continuous tense. This means that the action was continuing sometime in the past. We also have will be jogging, which is in the future continuous tense. This means that the action will be ongoing sometime in the future. We also had been jogging. which is in the past perfect continuous tense. This means that the action was ongoing in the past. When second action occurred. Lastly, we have been jogging. Have been jogging is in present perfect continuous. This means that the action began in the past. And still continuing now. Okay? So let's take a look at the question again. The man and his son have been engaging in this activity from the past until now. So the most probable option that we have is actually number 4 here. Because number 4 is used to show this continuity in action. Okay? So let me just give everybody some example sentences to illustrate what each of these other tenses means. Okay? So for was jogging is to show action that is continuing sometime in the past. For example, John was jogging in the park last evening. So we are looking at yesterday evening, which is a period of time from 6 p.m. all the way until 9 p.m. So this tense here will be used when the time is not specified. Okay. Now, will be jogging here is talking about a future event. I will be jogging in the park tomorrow morning. So long as it is somewhere in the future, it will always be future tense. Now, had been jogging is in past perfect. So if we are looking at more than one action that occurred in the past, then we will be using this verb. Okay. So for example, John had been jogging in the park when the dog chased him. So we are looking at more than one action, and both of them happened in the past. That's where we use had been jogging. Okay. Okay, moving on. Let's take a look at question 10 now. An adult must watch the children in the swimming pool dash they have learned to swim. So over here, we have a particular time period. And this time period would dictate a particular action, which is the adult must watch the children in the pool. Okay, it's a particular action that my time period is related to. So looking at all these conjunctions, we have option 1, if. This is for criteria. If it rains tomorrow, I will not go to the park. Okay. Until here is for deadline. You have until Wednesday to submit your homework. Since here is for a time. It's used to show time. Since 1965, Singapore has a independent government. Alright? And when is also used to show time or situation. When the school bell rings, all the students are expected to assemble in the hall. Okay? So in this case, we are looking at a particular deadline or this cut-off time that this action must occur. So the closest option that we have is number 2, until. All right. Okay, I'll just give everyone some time to take in the information I've just shared before we move on to vocabulary. Okay, if there are no further clarifications, let's take a look at our vocabulary section. Question 11. Despite her busy dash, mother still found time to lend a helping hand to those in need. So we're interested in busy. Busy means that you have a lot of things to do. Let's take a look at the options given. The first word, plan, refers to a detailed proposal to achieve something. So for example, I can say that I have a plan to achieve my AL1 for PSLE. So it's a series of steps needed to achieve my goal. Calendar here just refers to your calendar on your phone, which basically shows your dates. Next, we have schedule. Schedule basically means a list of events and their time. So it's like 6 a.m. to 7 a.m. you have breakfast. 7 to something else you have activity number 1, so on, so forth. Okay, this is called a schedule. Next, program here means that you have activities with long-term aim. So, for example, your PE physical education program is basically an activity or a series of activities that keeps you healthy. Okay? So, in this question here, we are looking at mother's, something related to mother and the things that she needs to do. Because over here, busy means that there's a lot of activities ongoing, but there wasn't any aim that is specified. So usually option 1 and option 4 will be eliminated. We are also not interested in just calendar or dates. So in this case, the closest option we have is schedule, which is number 3. Okay, so good job, Hwa Yi. Moving on, let's take a look at question 12. He entered the dark black alley, keeping a dash eye for danger. So we're interested in two things here. Dark alley, that means it could be dangerous. Then we also have danger. So he wants to avoid this kind of danger. Okay. Yes, for question 11 is option 3. Good job, Zing Zan Zom and Mian Bao. Okay, let's take a look at question 12 now. Option 1, timid. That means you lack courage. Okay. Curious here means that you are eager to know something or learn about something. Watchful, that means you are alert. Vigilant, that means you are on the lookout for danger. Concern basically means that you are warned or you are worried or troubled. Okay. And as what many of you pointed out, the answer here will be number 3, because you are on the lookout for your danger. Okay, so good job, Zing Zan Zom and Hwa Yi. Okay, let's take a look at question 13 now. Kumar dashed down the corridor with his injured ankle, groaning in pain. Over here, we are interested in injured ankle, which means that he must be walking with difficulty. Okay. Now, we have option 1 here, which is amble. Amble means that you move at a slow, relaxed pace. Hobble means that you walk awkwardly due to pain. We also have prance, which means that you move in springy steps. That means you are very happy, then you prance, all right? And scurried means you move hurriedly in quick steps. So if we look back at this question, you're walking with difficulty due to injured ankle. So it's very unlikely that you can be scurrying. That means you're moving very quickly. It's also unlikely that you will walk happily. Okay? Now, the correct answer here it will be number 2, hobble. Because the awkward movement is due to pain, which is specified in the question 2. Okay, so number 2. Number 1 is usually referring to very heavy humans and non-humans. For example, elephants, they amble. Okay. All right, let's take a look at question 14 now. No matter how hard he tried, Michael failed in dash his mother to buy him a new gaming console. So you can see over here that Michael had some objective. So he is trying to ask his mom to do this. So this is the aim. Looking at our options, we have offering. Offering means that you want to provide a gift or a contribution to something or somebody. Next, praising means that you admire or approve of somebody. Next, we have approving, which means that you have a positive opinion of something. Lastly, persuading means that you want to make people believe in your aim. So in this case, you can see that the aim is very clear cut here. He wants a gaming console. So in order to let his mom achieve this aim, he needs to persuade her first. Therefore, my answer will be number 4. Okay? Moving on, let's take a look at question 15. Kenneth was dash after being nominated for the award. Over here, we are looking at how this boy has achieved something. So he's likely to be very happy. The first option, up in arms, means that you are angry. Feeling blue means sad. Over the moon means happy. While green with envy means that you are jealous. So for this question, I think it is very clear cut to everybody that my option would be number 3 because you are very happy to have won that award. Okay? Alright, I will just give everybody some time to take in the information I just shared before we move on to our vocab close section. Alright, if there are no further questions, let's take a look at vocab close now. So what will happen is I will read through the passage with everybody and we will understand the words that are underlined. Once we are done with that, then we'll take a look at the options for the various questions. Alright? Singapore World Water Day celebrations took place in March to raise awareness of the nation's water security. A primary 5 student, Peter, felt like he had gone back in time to the past during the water rationing exercise. So over here, we are looking at gone back, which means that you return to a place or time. It caught some students by surprise when water stopped flowing from the taps in their school. Peter's teacher shared that during the Second World War, there was water shortage. So when you share something, it means that you tell somebody your thoughts and feelings. There was a water shortage and people faced difficulties in getting clean water. Difficulties means not easy to do or understand. Singapore is striving to reduce household water usage by 130 litres per person per day. So when you strive to do something, you are making the great effort to achieve something. Okay? By the year 2030, therefore, it is important for children to adopt good water conservation habits. Important here means something is of great significance or value. Alright? Okay. Let's take a look at the options given. For question 16, gone back, which means that you are returning to a specific place or time. The first option is return, which means to go back to a place, person, or time. Next, we have migrated, which means that you move from one habitat to another. Switched means that you adopt or change one object for another. While advanced means that you move forward in a purposeful way. So for this question here, the closest option we have is return, because it has this idea that you have gone back or you have sat in this time machine to bring you back to the past. Okay, so option 1 would be my answer. Next, we have question 17, which is shared, which means that you tell somebody about your thoughts and feelings. So we have option 1, define. Define means what is meant by a word. Okay. Then we have explain, which means that you make an idea clearer. We have concluded, which means come to an end. And demonstrated, which means that you give a practical explanation of how something works. Okay, so for this question here, we're interested in sharing your thoughts and feelings. So the closest option that we have would be to explain something. Because when you share your thoughts and feelings, people will have a better understanding, a clearer understanding of what you want to convey, your main message. Okay? Moving on, let's take a look at question 18, which is difficulties. This means something is not easy to do or understand. First option here is chaos. Chaos here means that there is disorder or confusion. Next, we have dilemma, which means that a situation where difficult choices need to be made. Okay? Thirdly, we have challenges, which means that there are stimulating tasks or problem. Basically, this means that something is very difficult to do. Okay? Lastly, we have differences, which means dissimilar objects. All right? So in this case, when we talk about challenges, when we talk about difficulties, which means something is not easy to do or understand, the closest option that we will have here is challenges. When something is stimulating, it means that your brains are growing. Okay, so my answer would be number 3. Now moving on, question 19 is striving. That means you are making great effort to achieve something. So looking at the options here, first one is aiming. Aiming means that you have the intention of doing something. Next, we have managing, which means control or authority over something. Developing here means that you grow or you mature to become more advanced. Lastly, contributing means that you give money, effort to achieve something. Okay? So looking back at our question, we're interested to find the meaning of striving, which means you want to put in great effort and there is a goal at the end because you want to achieve something. So using the method of elimination, we are not trying to gain control over something, neither are we making something more advanced. We just want to achieve something, and the closest option that we have is number 1. You are aiming to do something because you have that intention. Now option 4 here seems quite close because of the word effort here, and there's also this goal. But if we are using contributing, we need to talk about a specific person or organization. In the question, they said generally Singapore, which isn't a specific person who is contributing. If we say many households, then it is more likely that we can use contributing. If not, for a more general word, because of the context, we will use aiming or the intention to do something, which is option 1. Lastly, we have question 20. Important, which means that something is of great significance or value. Looking at our options here, major, which means something is more serious. Urgent, which means that immediate action is needed or attention is needed. Okay. Crucial means a decisive or a critical factor to the success of something. Lastly, serious means that careful consideration or application is needed. All right. So for this question here, we are looking at how children need to adopt good water conservation habits, and this is very important or very significant. And you can see that this is actually a factor to achieve something greater, which is you want to reduce water usage in Singapore. That's why you have World Water Day. So looking at our options here, the two closest options that we have would be major and crucial. But we're looking at not just something is more serious, but we're looking at how when children can play a part in conserving water, it is possible for Singapore's overall water usage to decrease. So children here become my key success factor. So when I want to point out this fact, I would use option number 3. Okay. Yes, good job, Danish 10955. If you can maintain your score next year, it'll be great. Because I believe you are taking PSLE next year. Okay, I'll just give everyone some time to take in the information I've just shared before we move on to grammar close. If anyone has any questions, please do not hesitate to type them in the chat, and we'll discuss the answers and questions. If there are no further questions, then we'll move on to grammar close now. All right. Backpacks are part of school life just like homework, stationery, and recess. However, they are getting heavier as students as they are putting more items in their backpacks. So you can see here that your backpacks are getting heavier, and this will affect these people. These are my subjects that are affected. So when we want to show this elaboration on who is affected, we'll use G4. Okay, so this is my elaboration. Dash textbooks and water bottles. Students often carry a change of clothing. Dash lunch boxes when they have after school activities. So we are looking at a whole list of items that students bring to school. These are similar category, which are school related items. All right. So to show the long list of items, so apart from just these two items, we will use the word besides. Okay, to show elaboration. So you can see here the same sentence has also we need to link these two words together. So the closest option that we will have here is and. All right. A heavy backpack, however, dash result in back pain. So this consequence here, which is back pain, is not 100%. That means not every student with a heavy backpack will be suffering from this pain. So we want to show possibility, we will use may result in back pain. To avoid this, students are advised to keep their backpacks dash light as possible. So when we have these two words here, as possible, the first word must be as. They always go together, as light as possible. Okay? They should develop the habit dash storing their books in their lockers at school. So this is actually an elaboration of my habit. What habit? The habit of doing something. So this would be of. So you may remember that for question 29 that I discussed earlier with everyone, I also mentioned that it is also an elaboration. But when we are looking at elaboration of human beings, for example, your students here, we will use for. But when we want to show an elaboration for objects or non-humans, we'll use of. Okay? In this way, they dash not need to carry their books all the time. So for this question here, we are looking at present tense carry and how they will not have the need. So it's an activity here that they need not do. So we will use the word do. They do not need. Okay. Items that are not needed dash be left at home. So we are looking at this obligation or this instruction here. If you don't need to bring the items to school, you should put them at home, which means that we should use L, should, because this is a preposition that is used to show instruction or obligation. Okay. Students are reminded to carry dash backpacks using both straps. So we are looking at the backpacks that are owned by the students. So we will say carry their backpacks. Okay. Students is also plural. That's why we will use their instead of his or her. The straps must be tight enough dash that the backpack is not hanging too low. So when the backpack is high enough, this is a cause. My effect would be the backpack is not hanging too low. So I want to use a conjunction to link these two things together, my cause and my effect. And that word would be so that, which is and. Okay? And with that, we have completed our grammar close section. I'll just give everyone some time to take in the information I've just shared before we move on to our editing. If there are no further questions, let's take a look at editing now. So we're looking at how this rock climber climbed a 48-story building in London. This was to achieve. Achieve is spelled wrongly here. A goal he had set for himself once he reached the age of 60. Alan raised his arms in excitement. Excitement is spelled this way. As he reached the top of the building, I want to send people the message that their 60 is not old. So we're looking at how this person is age this now. So it's a continuous action. So instead of be 60, he is being 60. You can still do sports and remain active. I promised myself dash I reach 60. So over here we're looking at a particular time period where the man is of this age. So it will be when I reach 60, I will climb dash tower again to show people that 60 is not too old. So we are looking at just one tower, singular. So instead of these, we will use this. Okay. Alan also wanted to use the climb to raise awareness about the need for climate change action. So when you want to spell awareness, please spell it this way. He began climbing dash his teens. So when you use the word teens, this is actually a time period between 13 and 19 years old. As such, we would use during the time period or in his teens, okay? Which basically wants to convey the message that between 13 and 19 years old, Alan was climbing. In training on the cliffs near his hometown, he later dashed up solo climbing and became a top climber. So his teenage years is in the past tense. It is very long ago, right? So we will use the word to up instead of take. Okay? So far, Alan has climbed over 150 towering structures. Structures is spelled this way. Around the world, including the world's tallest building. He climbs using safety equipment. So equipment is spelled wrongly. This is how you spell it. A climbing helmet, special footwear, and a bag of powdered chalk to wipe dash his sweat. So over here we are looking at a phrasal verb. A phrasal verb consists of my verb, which is my action word, as well as my preposition here. So we will need to understand what preposition to use for this question. When you want to remove your sweat, okay, you want to remove it, we will use the word wipe away, okay? With that, we have come to the end of our editing section. I'll just give everyone some time to take in the information I just shared before we move on to our vocab comprehension close passage. All right. If anyone has questions, please feel free to ask them in the comment section. Okay, let's take a look at Compre Close now. Many of us enjoy eating small and light food items in between our meals. This is known as snacking. So the definition of snacking is this: eating small light food items between our meals. So when we want to show this definition, we will say it is known as. Okay? Even after eating 3 meals a day, we may still feel dash. So the reason why you eat is because you are hungry. So you need to derive this on your own. We will then give dash to our craving to eat anything that is available. So when you are hungry, you will give dash. This is a phrasal verb to show that you would let that desire to eat something take the better of you, which means that you give in to craving. Okay, take note that over here is craving, which is like a temptation. There is the body is desiring to do something that is enjoyable. At times, we eat something that dash quick, like chips or sweets. So we are looking at something which is singular, that we'll say that is quick, but they contain 2 dash sugar or salt. So over here, these are uncountable quantities. And from the previous sentence, we observe that we are looking at these kind of unhealthy food items, which means that they contain too much because of the high quantity here. Ensuring we have some healthy snacks on hand prevents this. We can make it a habit to dash a healthy snack in our bag or store some healthy snacks in our home. So when we want to have something in our bag, we would say you put something in your bag. Okay? Or you want to place a healthy snack in your bag is also fine. We're just looking at verbs here to show that you take the snack from your kitchen and you put it into your bag. Just transferring of this item. Now, moving on. The type of snack we eat can lead to dash gain. Studies have shown that snacks we consume dash often sweet and salty junk food. So over here, we are looking at how these items, sweet and salty junk food, can actually cause you to be heavier or fatter, which means it is weight gain. Okay? And you can see here that the snacks you consume, which is plural, will be are. This is also in present tense, the previous sentence. So this is how I tell myself to be ready to change all my answers to present tense. Hence, it is necessary to dash the nutrition label and buy snacks that are low dash sugar and salt. Over here, we need to do something to the nutrition facts label, which is basically you need to read it so that you know how to avoid super sweet or salty foods. Okay? And you want to talk about how your snacks are low in this content. So these ingredients that are inside. So we'll say low in sugar or salt. Okay? This will help us make correct decisions on food. Eating and doing something else at the dash time is not advisable. So we are looking at concurrent activities. Okay? So we will say at the same time. For dash, we watch television, play video games, or read while we are snacking. So over here, these are very specific examples. Okay? So it will be for example. If we watch television, play video games, or read while we are snacking, it is easy to overeat dash being aware of it. So you can see over here that you are doing something which is to overeat and you don't know about it at all. Okay, so we would say, so over here we are looking at not aware. So we will use words like without being aware of it. Okay. Thus, it is a very dash idea to eat snacks with few distractions. So you can see here that there's a consequence of watching television or multitasking while you're eating. So when the next sentence tells you that you should eat with few distractions, such an idea would be good or advisable. No, you cannot use advisable because over here is a. So you need a non-vowel word. Okay? Okay, moving on. Dash snacking is a convenient way to curb hunger. It is important to make healthy snack choices. So you can see here that, well, it is a good way, it's a convenient way to curb hunger. We need to make healthy choices. So we are looking at how, even though this fact is true, we also need to do something else. It is like what we call a caveat. It is like a special terms and conditions in your receipt. So the answer would be, although snacking is good, or you can say, while snacking is a convenient way to curb hunger, or you can say though. Okay. And with that, we have come to the end of our complete close. I'll just give everyone some time to take in the information I've just shared before we move on to the next section. Okay? If there are no further questions by anybody, let's take a look at our synthesis and transformation. First question. My class enjoys swimming. We like playing basketball more. So firstly, we need to identify. So which activity do you like more? Basketball. Then swimming. Next thing, we take a look at the keyword prefers. When we have prefers, we would need to use the word to. They come as a pair. Now, we will write our number one activity first, followed by our subsequent activity. So the answer will be, my class prefers playing basketball to swimming. This is one of the more straightforward questions. Are there any questions, anybody? If not, let's take a look at question 67 now. Jim told us, I am going out with my father. Over here, we are looking at reported speech. So there are 3 steps that we need to do. Highlight, edit, and write. First thing we need to understand, I am fine. So he was going out with his father. So the correct answer will be Jim told us he was going out with his father. Okay, and that will be my answer. So everybody, please take note. we always need to move back by one time period. So when we have present tense, it will be, for example, is or am or are. Past tense, it will be was and were. And we also have the participle tense, which will be had something. Okay? So how this time period works is when we are looking at a direct speech to reported speech, we'll book back one time period. However, if they give you a reported speech and they want you to change it back to the one with open and close inverted commas, then it will be the opposite way. So from participle, it will be past tense. If it's past tense, it will be present tense. So it is one way or the other. Okay? Alright, moving on. You do not invite Anne to your party. She will feel hurt. So for this question, it is a cause and effect relationship. So the cause is you never invite Anne or Anne. And the effect is she'll feel hurt. So when we have this word if here, our cause will come, our effect will come first before our cause. Okay? The word if here shows that a criteria needs to be met, which is your cause. So Anne will feel hurt if you do not invite her to your party. Okay? So over here is quite straightforward. My cause, if the cause is real, the effect will be as such. Okay? Now let's look at question 69 here. Simon did not take the sandwiches to school. He ran to the bus stop. The word without here has the same meaning as did not. Okay, I repeat, did not. So it will be Simon ran to the bus stop without taking the sandwiches to school. Okay? Without taking the sandwiches to school. It's not his. We just follow the question will do. Okay? Kaylin Chua. Alright, let's take a look at question 17 now. Arthur was determined. He completed the jigsaw puzzle. So over here, they are interested in changing the word form from an adjective to a noun. So the answer would be as a result of Arthur's determination. He completed the jigsaw puzzle. Okay? The jigsaw puzzle, not the puzzle. So when we want to write our synthesis and transformation, please make sure to copy the entire sentence. Please do not leave out some words. Okay, with that, we have come to the end of our synthesis and transformation. I'll just give everyone some time to take in the information I've just shared. And if you have any questions, please feel free to ask them in the chat group. All right. Thank you everyone for joining me this afternoon on Writers at Work's TikTok Live. I'm teacher Nathan, and if you would like to learn more about Primary 5 English, please feel free to join me at 4:45 for our next TikTok Live session. We'll be going through Primary 5 papers again. If you have any questions about our tuition service or our TikTok schedule, please feel free to ask them in the chat group. We'll be on live for a while before we take a short break to prepare for the next section. Okay? So bye bye everybody.